So think about how many stories you know that have a dragon as the main antagonist, the real bad guy. There's a whole bunch. You can think of a whole bunch of stories where there's some kind of big monster that you can't possibly defeat physically in a situation where they've got a lot of treasure and they've accumulated a lot of things. There's a whole bunch of stories like that that you can think of really easily. And even some stories that you might not think of right away use some of the elements. Everything from The Hobbit to David and Goliath to Jaws and the bad guys in a lot of James Bond movies use some of the dragon elements. And like I always say, if we keep telling the same story over and over again, it means that that story's got something to tell us. It's like why little kids want to watch the same movie over and over again. We tell these stories because they make us feel whole. So there's something about that dragon idea that we can learn from. And if you really think about it, the dragon isn't about the wings and the cave. Those are the things that he has. And just like you're not your clothes or your house. And the dragon isn't even the eating villagers and the breathing fire. Those are just the things that the dragon does. And just like you're not your job or your favorite restaurant, these things can tell you a little bit about who you are, but they can't tell the whole story. Just like you, the dragon is defined not by what he has, not by what he does, but how he thinks, and most importantly, how he feels, just like you. So the defining characteristic of the dragon is something a little bit more internal, and you can see it when you really think about the behavior and how that manifests. The dragon collects things. Specifically, the dragon, and here's the thing, the dragon collects things that he can't possibly use. The image that a lot of us have of the dragon, like when you think about The Hobbit or whatever, is sitting on a giant pile of treasure. And what people often don't think about in those stories is the dragon can't spend any of that money. They don't make sweaters that big. The dragon can't have retail therapy moments. It doesn't work that way. The treasure is absolutely useless to the dragon, and yet he exists to accumulate more. That's the characteristic that makes the dragon a monster and also makes the dragon a victim. Just like you and me, just like everybody, the dragon has this desire to experience something unlimited, something more. It's the reason why you and I want to fall in love or look at art. It's the reason why we dance. But those kinds of expressions take courage. And the dragon, like every bully in every story, is a coward. So instead of following that urge for something bigger, something more outside of himself, the dragon just deals with things that he can understand. So I have this pull for limitlessness, for infinity, but I don't want to be risky. So I'm going to accumulate things that I can understand. I'm just going to get more money and more money and more money. And the defining characteristic of the dragon is that it's never enough. How much do you need? Well, I can't spend any of it, but I need an infinite amount. I need more and more and more and more. And one of the lessons of the dragon story is that if you think that way about some things, you're going to think that way about everything. A lot of times in the dragon story, there's a maiden, a princess that's been captured. And the maiden usually represents something like purity, beauty, love. Well, to have an appreciation for purity and beauty and love, you have to have courage. You have to be able to think outside of yourself. You have to have a respect for freedom. And the dragon has none of those things. The dragon sees the treasure as something to just keep accumulating, even though it can't make him happy. And in the same way, the maiden is just like another possession. The dragon sees people in terms of possessions, what you can collect and what you can use. Do you know any people like that? That's the thing. We have to keep telling these stories, and we have to understand these stories, because a lot of people don't know the moral of the dragon story. They don't know that the dragon is the bad guy. They think they're supposed to be like the dragon. We have been told over and over again, if you just have enough money, you're going to be okay. You're going to be the hero of the story. But there's a lot of billionaires who are not heroes. There's a lot of really rich people that could solve world hunger and homelessness by writing a check that would be meaningless to them, but they just don't. Too busy getting more of something that they can't use in the first place. So how do we beat the dragon? Well, you can't go toe-to-toe with the dragon. That's part of the lesson. The dragon's problem is misplaced infinity, right? The hero of the story always has a sense of something that goes on forever instantly. When you're in love, you feel infinitely filled up right then and there. When you're inspired by truth, beauty, courage, that's something the heroes always have, it's an instant infinity. So if you want to be the hero, instead of being the dragon, start thinking and defining your life in terms of things that automatically go on forever, things that you can't count. After all, you can't count love. How much love do you want? 5 love? Doesn't work that way. How much courage? 12? You can't count the things that really matter. And if you start defining your life by that, instead of by how much, you get to be the hero. You got this, kiddo.